Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Plan and Traffic. We do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. So please tell all your friends that we talk about cars, boats, trucks, anything you can put gas in, we talk about it. Got my man Ray from Motor Mouth Radio. What's up, Ray?
Back again, Lewis. Good to be here. Excited for tonight's guest. This is going to be good because I may be going to visit this man shortly with a buddy of mine. So I'm hoping my friend Chris, who wants to have the job done, I told him to check the show out tonight, and then I can maybe get him in. We'll get him in, and he can actually talk to Gil directly. And
Oh, good, good.
see if he's available. I don't know if he will be.
Yeah, I'm going to go down there this week to see Terry and Gil, so we're going to head down that way.
Nice.
So let's pull Gil in, a man from GCD Auto, building some hot stuff, man. Interior is incredible. Cars are pretty hot. So we're going to get him in, Mr. Gil. What's up, Gil? You're muted. Here, I got you. Let's see. Oh, no, you're muted. Oh, we can't hear you. Hold on.
He must be muted on his end.
Yeah, you're muted on your end.
Yeah, let's see. Let me try that. No, that didn't work. Yeah, it says his mic isn't connected. Gil, it says your mic isn't connected.
Oh, there you go. I think you're good. Nope.
Not yet.
Showed the mic came on, but there we go. Can you turn your volume up?
Yeah, sometimes this stuff has to like cycle.
Right, edit mic settings.
Boy, we got guests that we don't want to hear. You can't mute them, and now we got someone we want to hear, and we can't.
Right.
Right. That's what they say about the hosts all the time. Oh man, oh man.
It's showing that it's on, but it's nothing coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, the unmute went away.
How about that? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Gotcha.
That was like my iPhone near me, and it was picking up the iPhone mic, which does no good because I'm not on with the iPhone. I'm on with the Mac. So.
Oh, right. There you go.
Right.
How's it going? How you been?
Excellent. Busy, busy. It's been a long summer. So.
Good. That means good stuff if you're busy.
Yeah, I mean, we just getting some projects out, and we got some projects done and out the door, and we got some exciting new projects coming in, and it's been we get rid of two come in, it's just a good mix, it's just a good constant mix, and I just spent all day Tuesday doing a photo shoot for that 66 Tempest.
Mm-hmm.
So a gentleman from Modern Rotting magazine contacted us and arranged a photo shoot for it. So that'll be coming out in a couple of months. And then a few months back, we did another photo shoot for that F100 we did in season 2, that gray one with the stacked injector motor and, with all those fancy wheels on it, nice interior. So that one's coming out as well in the magazine. So.
Nice.
And then we got to mix in a couple of car shows here and there. We did the Syracuse Nationals. We did a few local things.
Yeah.
But what happens is all winter we're just so used to the quiet time, and then once the spring and summer hits, it's just like you're getting pulled in like 10 different directions.
Right.
Yeah. The Syracuse Nationals is no joke. I was up. I did that show 3-4 years in a row, and. Yeah, it's such a great show. Were you indoors or were you outside?
Yeah, so we've been spoiled the last 2 years. We've been indoors.
Yeah,
and we've actually wearing the shirt. It's we sponsor the Brush Fest.
Okay.
So
who runs that now?
Paul Puza runs it out of Dutchess County. He's done a phenomenal job. I mean, it's already did such a great job with it for years, and then Paul stepped in, and so the year before, so last year we did $85,000 was raised for Ronald McDonald House, And then this year it was 95,000. So we're hoping next year we can hit that 6-figure mark, and all the money goes towards Ronald McDonald House.
Right.
Great.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm friends with Artie Schilling, and that's I always got out there because of him. And then some of the drag guys that brought the drag cars. I'm friends with them as well through the radio show. So, I kind of had my in that way. But yeah, the Artie's party was something to be seen, man. I mean, if you've never seen anything like that, and I'm sure they're probably doing it the same way, where they have all the artists do the round robin around the tented boards. I mean, there's a TV show on in the '90s. It was, and I think it's still on, but it was with comedians, and they would have a topic. So each comedian had to say a line, and then somebody else had to add to it.
Okay.
And then
was that Whose Line Is It?
Yes, whose line is it anyway?
Improv thing, yeah.
And when you have real, true comedians, you get some funny ass stuff, man. And the same thing, I equate that to Artie's party. When you have stone cold artists, it doesn't matter what's on that board in front of them from the last guy. They can put their own thing in there, and they can add to it. They just
I mean, you're talking sign guys, you're talking pinstripers, airbrush artists. I mean, it's just like the who's who of this artistry, and it's great to see. I mean, there was 60 artists in there.
Wow, that's great.
Right.
That's great. Oh, very good. That's good. Yeah. So I'm seeing from your post and all that you're not just interiors anymore. You're doing a lot of other work.
We're a full build. So Gil and Interiors was the original thing we were doing. That's what we were most known for. But GCD Auto Studio has its own page, and we do full-fledged builds. I mean, and that's what the TV show is about as well. It's just. We can do anything from restoration, full nut and bolt restoration, like we did on this 64 Lincoln from start to finish. And then you got the 66 Tempest, which is, resto mod sitting on a Roadster Shop chassis, LS motor. So it doesn't really matter whether it's a restoration or a resto mod. We do it all in-house too. So everything happens in one building. And I think that's what differentiates us is some people say it's one-stop shop, but most people send it out for interior work, and we're the exact opposite. We started as the interior, and then we do everything. So everything happens in one location.
Yeah, like I said before, every time you post a video, I learn something new. I'm looking in the background. I'm like, what are you doing back there? What kind of machine is he using? So, man, I love watching your videos.
Yeah, we get most of the questions center around the interior side, the upholstery side. What glue do you use? I probably get that question like 10 times a week. What glue do you use? Yeah.
That's great. So I'm going to be down your way probably Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm going to stop and see Terry. We're at a schoolie event right now, and it's over Sunday. So we're going to pull out. We're going to go to the upper coast, New England somewhere over there. But I think we're gonna cut it short because I want to get back home and do some things to the bus so we can go out to Vegas next month. So,
you talking bus to SEMA?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. And we're gonna stay out there all winter. So I want to get back home and do a couple tweaks.
Good.
Before we go.
Now, where are you at currently? Are you in New York or?
Yes, we're in Bainbridge, New York.
Okay.
It's by Corning. You know where Corning, New York is?
Yeah.
We're just west of Corning.
Okay.
I got to say, Bainbridge must be a little off the beaten path if two guys from New York don't know where it is.
I know Corning. Yeah.
I do too. That's funny.
Yep. So we're gonna be heading down that way. We're gonna park in your parking lot for about 3 days.
There you go. Put you to work.
Hey, neighborhood. Believe me, I'm coming in with my notebook. I want to see some stuff.
Definitely Tuesday, Wednesday is a good days because usually our schedule, we got guys coming from an hour and a half away. So some of those guys do 410s. So Monday it's usually a light day. It's probably 4 of us, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, we're at full capacity, 14 of us. So
really? Wow. That's great. I don't want to come and be in your way. I just want to come look at your thread wall. I'm going to look at that.
Yeah, check out all the machines there. You get to meet Guido and Julio, the two guys that are You see them a lot on the videos doing all those complicated interiors. You know, you
Yeah,
get some
man.
fabrication guys. You know.
Those
You know,
guys are-
Gil, we were talking about that last week because I have a good buddy who has a car that you have featured in your site. He's got a '63 Lincoln convertible,
Okay.
and he wants to have. I mean, it's in great shape, but he wants to have the seats redone with a color change.
Okay.
It's simple, white with black piping,
Yep.
and he needs a little repair on a convertible top, and he wants to have a console made.
Okay.
So I've been sending him your stuff. He goes, "Yeah, that looks like the guy. That looks like the guy I want to go to."
Oh, yeah.
So
I will say, when it comes to Lincolns, there's no such thing as a little convertible top work to do. That is one of the most complicated convertible tops in the industry.
well, the good thing is, no, the top actually works. The mechanism works.
There you go. That's good then. Yep.
That's fine. On the actual top itself, there's a little bit of a tear that just needs to be repaired. That's
Okay.
it's a repair job.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, the mechanism is good. So
All right.
so that's I'm hoping he'll come on tonight and he'll talk to you himself.
I've seen the bead of sweat going down Gil's head. He's
Oh,
like,
I know.
nine relays, 6 switches.
So I guess you have a guy who knows that system or can speak it. I mean, because it's not just for the faint of heart. I mean, I wouldn't want to work on one.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're blessed to have a great team of guys there that know how to problem solve. And then with that 66 Lincoln, that thing was not working. It was all out of sync. The relays were bad. It was at a body shop before, and the hydraulic fluid leaked, so it leaked all into the relays and all the circuits. So that all had to be cleaned up. And our guy Tyler, he spent many hours on that thing. Because people don't realize the back windows for the back door windows control the top as well. So if that window motor doesn't work and that window doesn't drop, the top's not going to work.
oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So everything works in sync. So even the windows and the back doors have a safety thing, which controls the courtesy light, which controls the top. I mean, there's so much intertwined there. I swear there's like in that entire car, there's probably 8 circuits and everything runs off of those 8 circuits. And it's just brutal. But there are people in the industry, like there's a guy, John Brewer out in Colorado. He knows those tops, and he's always available. You can send them pictures. You can talk to him and he can help you figure it out. And plus, I would say never underestimate the value of a manual. Like, and Lincoln had a great manual about the whole car, but they had a separate booklet for just the convertible top wiring and how the controls work and the relays and all the switches. So, it's not an IKEA bookshelf. Don't throw the instructions away. Let's take a look at it and pay attention to what it says in that book.
Right.
So do you feel like that car was ahead of his time?
Well, not even. I mean, you think about in the 50s, what was that? The Ford, the retractable.
Yeah, called a retractable. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Sunliner. I think that was the Sunliner.
Yeah. Sunliner. What was that 57, right? So.
Yeah, 5, 6, 6, 7, something like that. Yeah.
So it's definitely. But if you look at the 66 Lincoln with the back windows dropping when you open the door, kind of like a new convertible, when you open and close the door, that window just drops a little bit.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there was a lot of engineering going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. One of my buddies has I think it's a 69, and it's really nice. He had a guy, Stinking Lincoln, out of Pittsburgh, I believe, work on it.
Oh yeah, I know Stinking Lincoln. Yeah, he helped us out with. He supplied the window motors, and then I had to send it to a guy. I believe his name was Jeff Woods in Texas, who rebuilds the window motors. So one guy has the motors, the other guy rebuilds the motors, and it's a whole that Lincoln thing. It's a whole community of reaching out to people, and everybody's super helpful too. It's just
That's good. That's good that you can work with other people like that. Some in my area, you can't work with anybody because they're all jealous or they don't want you to fix something. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I gotta say, it's been because when we made the transition to going into the full build, I was concerned because we had so many relationships with builders and other restoration shops because we were doing their interior work, and I was like, oh, what's going to happen? That's why we had the two separate companies. But I got to tell you, like the two biggest clients we had on the interior side that have restoration shops and custom shops stuck with us and offered to help. And one of them even helped us out on a project with some metal work, and so, I mean, it's because, I mean, my thought is, even though we're all in close proximity, there's so much work out there. We're not taking anything from anybody, we're just, we all have our own niche,
Right.
Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest obstacles and hurdles you have to overcome with these projects? Because this isn't regular auto repair. This isn't, it's not even restoration work. I mean, what you're doing is another level above all that. It's creation.
Yeah.
And, I'm curious what you feel your biggest obstacles are.
I think because we do the restoration stuff too, and I think with the restoration it depends on the type of vehicle, right? So I mean, listen, a Camaro, a Chevelle, Mustang, you can open up 10 books and get every part you need.
Sure.
When it comes to things like we restored that 64 Lincoln, not the convertible, the hardtop, and when it comes to finding parts, that's the biggest challenge on some of these oddball restorations. On the resto mod thing is just figuring things out. Like, I mean, it wasn't meant to have a 72 Bronco wasn't meant to have a Coyote motor in it, so you got to figure out the fact that you have to raise the Bronco 2 inches so that way the motor clears. You got to figure out the wiring in that thing because now you have a Coyote motor in there and it's looking for the rest of the car and it's not supposed to be that Bronco. So I think the challenge is just pushing the envelope with technology and trying to modernize these vehicles and knowing the limitations of it. And then also advising the client that you can't put, 700, 800 horsepower into a stock frame. You need to get, you need to upgrade. You need a chassis. You need coilovers. You need 6-piston calipers. It's just the nature of it. What's the good in going fast if you can't stop the vehicle,
Right. And the brakes. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I think that's the other challenge too, is like a lot of clients are used to their daily drivers, where you have all these bells and whistles and the new cars have a certain feel. So when they jump into a 55 Chevy, they don't want it to feel like a 55 Chevy. They want it to look like a 55 Chevy, but they don't want that swooshy ride and the drum brakes and the they want it to be responsive, and they want it to feel like they're hugging the road.
And that's where you get into, I mean, you have to be a salesman because now you have to explain, well, now you need major suspension upgrades and they're going to cost a lot of money, and people may not have that budgeted. It's funny. I had a guy that was going to do some interior work for me who never did. He kind of left me out hanging to dry, but we had him on the show many times and he said, the interior guy is the loneliest guy in the restoration business. I said, why is that? I said, you guys are real popular. He goes, no, everybody waits till the end to do the interior.
They're out of money.
Said, by the time they get to me, all I hear is, oh, the motor costs so much, the brakes, the paint. I don't have any money left. Can you help me out? He's like, I'm the last guy in line all the time. He says.
And that's the beauty of doing everything in-house is we plan it out. So like when the project gets started, we're picking colors, and then at some point we'll do maybe the seats, and then at another point we'll do the trunk. So all along the whole process is we're doing little bits and pieces of the interior. So it's not just, hey, this is now you got to do the interior and it's going to be this much money. So
right,
having that kind of intertwined in the full build, and it looks much better because now when they're wiring up the car, on the build side, I can go, hey, you know what? If you can put I need in the center console area, I need power for X, Y, and Z. And if you can tuck the battery in more in the trunk or put all the fuses here, I can use one panel and you can get access to everything. So that communication with the build team and the interior team happens, throughout the process. And you can see the difference in the builds. It's thought out and it's very well meshed together as far as the process,
And I have to say, from what I've seen, I haven't seen any other interior shops be the lead shop on a build. They usually, the standalone. Yeah. Like sometimes the paint guy is a standalone and mechanical. So that's fantastic by integrating everything. It really is an integrated approach. Which is great. It really puts you ahead. I got to tell you that one of the best things I saw the guy's car last year. It's a Firebird convertible, and now I saw him again this year. I was talking to him, and it's a heavy resto modded car, beautiful, like a Lucerne blue with a white interior, bright pearl white interior with blue piping. But since we're both cigar smokers, and the thing that I noticed was he had a humidor built into his console. And I was like, dude, that is great. It's like, that's fantastic. He goes, yeah, not everybody agrees. I said, not everybody smokes cigars, but
no, I'm a big smoker as well. Actually, I was on a podcast last night called The Burn Down out in Long Island.
Oh, really?
And, I went out to Long Island, did the podcast. Great guys. Probably coming out tomorrow. We actually talked about doing an event at the shop, cars and cigars.
Where are they located, these fellas?
They're in Huntington, Long Island.
Okay, that's not far from me. That's on the North Shore, but
and we talked about doing a cigar event at the shop this spring, and hopefully they can set up their podcast at the event, at the Cars and Cigars event, and guys can come on and talk about cigars, talk about their cars.
Right. That's great.
But talking about a humidor on a 83 or 85 Porsche Cabriolet, we did in the frunk, the front trunk there. Yeah. When you opened it up, I built a leather wrapped humidor, and you opened it. It had a little case for the cigars. It had a holder for the lighter, for the cutter. It had everything in it, So
nice. That's cool. I like that.
I have an order for a case, a hard case, and a small case for cigars when I get back home.
Okay. Oh, the travel cases, the black plastic ones. Yeah, those are great.
I use one of those. I could stick like 6 cigars in that thing if I really jam them in.
So I'm going to make it out of leather. I'm going to put the insert inside.
Okay. Oh, nice. Well, we should talk. I should get one of those made. I should get a custom one made. Because I went to the Churchill lengths now, which is like the 6-7 inch lengths. I find they burn better. They're cooler, and it's not as frantic of a smoke, I find, as a shorter cigar. So you need a case that'll hold that. But,
yeah. So when I get back to my first project,
because I gotta get the smoke in before I'm interrupted for something. So.
And you have my other vice sitting right behind you. I see you're well set up. You got the bar right there.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I got a few bottles.
I may not come home.
All right, so I'm gonna let the fellas in. I have to go turn my generator off because there's a lot of buses around me. I don't want to keep them up all night. So we'll let the fellas in. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, Vince just sent me a message about Bainbridge. The population's 1355. No wonder nobody knows where it is. There's nobody.
1357 this week.
Listen, I live in a town that's 5 square miles, and there's 20,000 people here. So
I'll be right back.
Yeah. There's the boys. All right, so we got Jim, Vince, Brian, and Papa Squirrel. How's it going,
guys? How y'all doing?
Hey, guys.
Good.
Hey, when you were talking about the convertible top to the Continental, that was like when Porsche brought back the Cabriolet, and they couldn't decide on what they wanted, so they had every component possible that there was on a convertible top. You started out, manually unhooking it, and then, they had cables, they had hydraulics, they had gears, they had micro switches, and like you said, everything worked, and it was a time.
Oh yeah.
So everything was measured and timed just right.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I had a guy that called and said, "Hey, the top's not working." And I said, "Have you done anything?" And he said, "No." I said, "Don't touch anything.
Yeah.
Just bring it up." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, no problem." So, as the day went on, I'm like, well, I guess it worked, or I don't know. He's not here. So like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, he comes rolling up and the top is down on the car. And I go out and I was like, "Hey, the top's working." He goes, No, I can't get it up now. And I was like, "Okay, well, what did you do?" He goes, "Well, I got the owner's manual out, and it said, in case of emergency, take these 2 bolts out." And of course, when he did that, all the gears fell out of the top of the transmission, and it disconnected, and it became a manual top. And he goes, "Yeah, when I push the button, nothing happens." And I was like,
Yeah, no fooling.
dude, you know, you really, I mean, it was just probably a micro switch that just needed to be tweaked.
Yep.
You know, all I had to do was hook it up and see what wasn't getting the signal, you know?
Yeah.
And I said, if you think I'm fixing it, I said, you got to leave it. I got to take the whole system apart, rebuild both transmissions, and I got to measure out everything now. So come pick it up in a week. You know, it's like,
Wow.
yeah, I said, why? He goes, it was such a nice day. And, you know, it says, I said, an emergency, like, you know, you need to put the top up, like it's raining or something, not because it's a nice day. So it was always fun doing those cars. Because, you know, the rear panel lifted up, the windows went, you know, it's a lot.
Yeah, so you got the trunk has to come up, and then that flap has to come up.
And then it had little flippers on the side. I mean, like I said, it was, you know, for something simple, it's, you know,
locks that have to lock in. But the other thing people don't realize with those Lincoln tops is you can't be on uneven ground sometimes. If you're a little uneven, the top's not going to work either because it senses that it's a little twisted and it's not going to open up. So
wow,
I'm really surprised that you put that cigar thing in the front of on that 911. I hope you made sure you hooked that battery drain for the acid from the batteries, not the I mean, because that was the biggest problem with the 911s.
Oh,
they put an aftermarket battery in, and they never hooked the vent up. So all the battery acid fumes would, you know, stay underneath the trunk, and it would just eat everything up. The carpet, the relay, I mean, the fuse box, everything was just gotten eaten up in those things.
Yeah, that was that thing was far from stock, so it was all custom, and I believe that had like one of those AGM batteries, so no battery acid, and
that's good.
Tiny little battery, and then it had like a whole full enclosure in there too, so it was all sealed up. So.
That was because later on in life, or even when you got into like the 928s, or even the what's the other 4-door one that they make, but they would, you know, they would lay the battery in there, and then they would lay 4 or 5 computers or ECs on top of that. And of course, the first time someone replaced the battery, they never hooked the vent up, so all that ate all the battery acid. You know,
if you ever mess with those 911s, you know there's like all this wiring. There's no fuses. Like, you have that little strip of all these little connections there and the relays. There's no fuses in that car. Maybe 4 fuses in the whole thing, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, that's what keeps job security.
Yeah.
That's great.
Wow. What do you say after that?
So, Gil, you were working on for yourself. Was it what kind of car was it?
I got a 1970 Buick Riviera.
Riviera.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gil, I had a 71 Riviera.
Hotel. Okay.
Right. And what I saved is the bucket seats, the console with the shifter, and the tilt column with the wheel and the key. So I'm trying to find somebody who wants to convert the 71 to 73 from a bench seat. This is everything to convert it to a bucket seat with the original parts. So, you know, keep it in the back of your head. If you hear anybody, we'll work out a deal.
Yeah, and I think those that seat arrangement didn't change for those years too. So
they might have changed the vinyl pattern. I know on the bench seat the vinyl pattern changed, so it may have. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know, but you know, and of course the color could be different. But you know, that'd be a real red herring to find somebody this exact color. But it's yeah, the seats aren't destroyed. You know, I've had them in inside storage since I took them out. Everything is inside. I also have the gas tank for that car, which is a 1-year only gas tank. Because every year, the rear bumper, it had a point to it. And every year it changed. It got flatter and flatter as they had to go to when they finally went to the 15-mile-an-hour bumpers, it was disgusting. But every year so the gas tank changed. I don't think it's the tank that's different. I think it's probably the filler neck that's different. because there was no reason for the tank to change, but the neck would change when the bumper profile changed because it came out behind the license plate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, I got one of those too.
Yeah, 70 is a one-off year, so it's the year after the Hideaway went away, and it's before the Boat Tail, so it's kind of in between the two styles there.
I like the 60s. I like the 70s. I do. Was 69 the last year for the
Hideaway.
The rolling speedometer?
Oh no, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No, this 70 has a rolling speedometer in it.
Barrel. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's that's a cool deal.
Yeah, I picked this car up out of Massachusetts there, and it had 60,000 miles on it. No rust. Beautiful car, amazing condition, all original, second owner, and had all drum brakes. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put disc brakes on it. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Took the drum brakes off, started doing the disc brakes. I'm like, well, if I'm doing disc brakes, I should upgrade the wheels, and if I'm upgrading the wheels, I should probably do something with the suspension, and then while I'm at it, I should do something with the motor. So here we are, years later. I got a full Roth Speed chassis with an independent rear, independent front.
Wow.
So it's gonna.
Well, that's another thing. I have either 5 or 6 of the 15-inch chrome road wheels for the Riviera.
This is probably gonna get 20s on it. So the whole floor is gone. It's all cut out, and the frame's up into the car, so it's nice and low.
Nice. Yeah.
We're gonna do a supercharged LS. I'm doing Kindig handles on it, getting rid of the drip rail. So it's from drum brakes to
right.
disc brakes.
That's how it starts. That's how it starts.
Yeah.
Rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So how's Power Tube TV working for you?
That's great. We just so we took season 1 and 2 because originally when we went on, and there was no rule that said you had to be at a certain time, right? So some episodes were 27 minutes, some were 24 minutes or 30 minutes. So with their push now to go towards DirecTV, which operates on that half-hour, 1-hour show format with advertisers. Yeah. So we took season 1 and season 2, we reformatted it completely into 22-minute episodes, so half-hour show, and we wound up with 23 episodes. So they have that now, and those are going to start airing in that half-an-hour format. So you'll see season 1 and 2 re-edited. So each episode changed a little bit just to fit into that 22-minute format. So,
you think that's going to be an issue? Because you know how YouTube is starting. You know how they went to watching on YouTube. They go from one form. Like you watch some of the earlier guys, and they just tape forever and watch, and then all of a sudden they said, "Oh, you got to make it shorter. Now you got to make it longer." And then, of course, when you get to that point of putting commercials in, you'll be watching something and they just cut it up. Do you think that will ever get formatted just like TV, or is it just?
No, I think YouTube's a whole different, just a whole different animal, right? So if I look at TV, I say the core purpose of a show on TV is to entertain, right? It's for the most part you're entertaining people. There is some educational part of some of these car shows, I get it, but for the most part you're entertaining. Where I think YouTube is really, guys want to go out and learn how to do something. They follow along a certain person. So
I agree with you on that, but the problem is the guys that are running the YouTube, the guys on the show, they get dinged and beat up and they don't hit their numbers, and then they don't make the money because they want entertainment. I mean, YouTube, I think, is kind of like a really messy peanut butter and jelly sandwich, because they want to be one way, but they have these regulations on the other end. And then you take somebody if you wanted to have both or do both, that's twice the work for you. Or, you just let YouTube go crazy and then you just stick with the one if you want to go with the TV part of it.
Yeah, I think from the financial perspective, for us, it works being on PowerTube more than YouTube, because YouTube's a great secondary thing where they re-air the episodes and it's available. But in order to get sponsorships and products and product placement and revenue coming in through advertisers, you need to be in a structured format, right? You know, and then you need to be in a format where the network is controlling the advertising and how it's presented and how the episode's cut up. Because you know, you go fade away. I think with YouTube is just too dependent on algorithms, and you know, you can just and plus you don't have control of the advertisers that are advertising during your videos when they show. So I just think if YouTube wants to get more in line, then they should really create maybe like a separate channel, you know, where you can have like just shows that are formatted more like a television show versus a YouTube video.
Yeah. Well, you know, I know me, and there's a few other guys. I mean, I watch more YouTube than regular TV because the problem with TV is too much TV magic. They don't show what's going on. They take this car rolling in,
Right.
you know, in a milk carton, and then, you know, 30 minutes later, it's great, and you didn't get to see how anything was done. And, you know, there's a lot of people that want to see that. And, of course, they're just doing the, you know, oh, we lit this you know, firecracker, and we run around and scream like little girls. But that's one thing. But, you know, like I said, I guess really the whole concept of this conversation, or my question was, it's too bad that they just all can't be not regulated, but, you know, structured the same way so that you could put both on both, you know, you could do both ends without twice the work, I guess.
I think the challenge, you know, which we've learned in the past 2.5 years is, in order to do a show where you're showing a lot of the work. So you think about it, right? The most expensive, this is what we learned, the most expensive TV show to shoot is a build show, because you have to have a camera on all the time, every day, to capture every aspect of it, right? So
Right.
imagine having thousands of hours of film to make a 1 hour episode. And so it's not just capturing the film, you know, the footage, right? So what we learned is the hard way is post-production is the most expensive part.
Yep.
You can have all the footage, but editing the footage, getting the music right, laying out the episode, the storyboards, like it's a lot of work to make a 1 hour show or to make a half an hour show. Where the luxury with YouTube is it's POV, right? Point of view perspective. So it's one guy with a camera. He sets up a camera. He's in front of the camera. You can run that thing for 10 hours. It's not going to cost you anymore because you have the camera.
Yeah.
So do that on a television show. It'll cost millions of dollars to produce that show.
Well, yeah, that is true. Other than if you did like, you know, a digital platform where you're not wasting any. I mean, you know, you erase what you don't want, you know, use. You're not, you know, it's like the old days of taking a picture. You know, you went someplace, you took a picture, and then you went to go develop it, and it cost you an arm and a leg, and you're like, holy crap, we took this many pictures, and you had like 7 that you liked, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Hey, Brian, I'll tell you something, Brian. When I was shooting film, 35 millimeter film, my benchmark was if I could get one picture out of a roll of film that I thought was blow up worthy, I was happy. Literally.
Well, no, I mean that's true. I mean, I'm just saying in general content.
Like blackening the shots and motor driving it. I was like, you know, composing, because that's what digital film is cheap. It's great. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, you know, a couple of years ago, my cousin who was helping me with social media stuff, he was bugging me to do video in the shop, and I said, dude, I can't do it. I said, I can't work with a camera in my hand and actually do something. I said, I'm doing dirty, greasy stuff. Well, put it on a tripod. I said, as soon as I put that camera on a tripod, the first time I move, I'm kicking it across the shop, because I kick everything across the shop.
Well, we can fix that because you get the Meta AI glasses, and you got them on your head. The only problem is you got to watch how you're pointing it, because it's side of view. So, well, but then, I know, but I just.
But then my buddy Mike at the shop came up with this little tripod he bought off Amazon, and you put the camera or your phone on it, and it would follow you. So as long as you had it in a spot where it could follow you, I said, okay, well, that takes out half of it. And then, but you still got to do close-up stuff. And it always comes down to post-production. And Gil, everybody we've had on this show, and everybody I've had on Motormouth Radio and that I talk to who does video, I always ask them, how long does it take you to edit your videos? And they all say the same thing. You don't want to know. It's a lot longer than what you see. And I believe it. I 100% believe it. So
yeah, you're for us, you're a week, maybe more longer on one episode, just editing.
And
Because you have
like
all the footage.
Yeah.
Now that we've captured, 10, 20 hours of footage on a particular project, somebody has to do that. You got to make sure the audio is correct. You got to color correct it, right? So we're using these cameras. They're not just like just regular cameras. They're Sony FS7s, right? So you shoot in what's called S-Log, which is it's gray, and you have to color correct it. So they're the color correction, the audio correction, and then it's just.
I mean,
it's a lot of work.
Not everything you film do you want. You don't need it all. Some stuff you need. But like Brian, I watch YouTube as TV. I do. There's very few shows I actually watch on TV. I have YouTube on for hours. And what I did a year ago, because of the commercials, I said, screw this. I paid for premium. I said, give me premium. Now I have no commercials.
Yep, me too.
So, but the worst thing that I get is like one of my friends, I had him on the show 2 weeks ago, Kenny Wessel, Redshift with Kenny. He always does 100% POV stuff, and it gets kind of long. And there's another guy who does the same thing, and it's almost like, okay, this is the stuff that should be edited. I don't need to see all this mundane stuff. That's where you need a cut.
Yeah.
So but that's what fast forward is for. So I go through remote batteries fast.
Yeah.
I do the editing on my end, but
the other great thing is for camera wise, the iPhones are great. We use a lot of iPhones for B-roll, so like just as you're talking through a scene and you got different things showing. A lot of that's done with the iPhone,
right?
And then all our in the booth like paint work is done with GoPros because we don't want to be in there with a camera. So the GoPros handle everything in the booth. And then the iPhones around the shop we can capture. And then when we're filming a particular footage of a particular scene or doing interviews, those are the big Sony FS7 cameras.
Yeah.
And have you gotten in any drones? How many have you lost or got shot down?
We got drones. We hit one mailbox. Thankfully, it wasn't the car; it was the mailbox. But other than that, we've been and they come into the shop with the drone, and they're like right by the car, right by the person working, and then they just take off. So you'll see some of the shots where it's like right there, and then it backs out. So you got to have a lot of trust in the drone operator.
Oh yeah.
I got one, and I've only wrecked it about 37 times, and I've only been on 3 flights. So it's been tough.
Yeah, the one time we managed to get the drone in between the roll-up gate and the roof of the shop.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, some of those guys are really good at flying them, man.
Yeah.
That's a quick story, a side note. My brother-in-law had one of those RV, remote control helicopters that he built, and it was like, I don't know, it was fairly big. I mean, it was a big thing. And he was talking about classes and going through all this stuff. And, of course, I'm like, classes? What the hell is, you build it and you fly it, And it was so funny because this was many moons ago. And he's like, today's the day I'm going to fly it. And we're all like, wow, awesome, and it builds this helicopter. And he gets out and, it has to go through the 27 checks and rechecked everything, and it's zip. And I'm like, dude, let's get this thing going, man. I want to see this thing fly. And it goes, that was, oh man, awesome. And I was like, what? That was the first flight.
Not exactly the Wright brothers there.
Yeah. So then, of course, many years later, I get this drone thing. And I'm like looking at it like, yeah, okay, dude. And I'd snap it all together and get it. Man, I'm surprised like the tool truck didn't blow up because, this thing's banging off of everything. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm up to this. So
Brian,
I give my brother-in-law a lot of credit because all the crap I said, man, he was, it's a learning process.
And that little drone of yours was a hell of a lot easier to fly than that helicopter.
Oh, yeah, dude. It was awesome. I had a customer that had done one. We have these, the state police here in Maryland have these French turbine, these French turbo ones. They sound wicked as hell. About 3 miles is helipad, or that's where they keep them out here in the. And when they need to go do a medical, move a flight on a late night, if you have the windows open, you hear that thing fire up. It's an eerie sound, and when they take off, that's wild. And I've watched them down the street. We have a field where they can land if they have to, but they take off. They can stand straight up and take off. And but a customer of mine, he built one of those RC or remote control ones, and that was pretty interesting watching them fly that thing around. So,
Ryan, knowing some guys who are helicopter pilots, they'll tell you hovering in a helicopter is the hardest thing you'll do in a helicopter.
Yeah.
And when they first teach them, they take them out into a field literally, and there'll be another one on the stick with them. And because it's not only is it a joystick, you got your rudder, your feet, your hand, your twist throttle, all of that is involved. The yoke,
Collective
it's 2 hands, 2 feet to hover one. So
one of the pilots I knew said it was like you had to learn to tap dance, pat your head, rub your belly, put it a different pattern, and then sing Dixie or something like that. He said you had so many things you were doing.
Yeah, that's insane.
He said, I didn't think I was going to learn it. And he said, one time I found it, all of a sudden it came in. And but I listened to all that. And I go,
Yeah. Well, as a guy that can't walk and chew gum at the same time, I guess I shouldn't fly one.
Yeah.
You get those guys that know how to fly them, and you sit there just slack jawed at just what those guys can do. Lift up, backwards, rotate. I mean, it's just. It's nuts if you see one of these guys that, growing up.
My daughter did an intern in Baltimore County Police, and she one of her intern days was in the helicopter, and the guy flying along, they were doing patrol, and they had a car chase, and they did this and did that, and he says, "You want to go?" Before the bridge was hit. In the bay, but he goes, "You want to go buzz the bridge?" And man, they took off about 15 feet off the water. And my daughter said it was a wild ride doing that. So
I bet
that was one of those things that not too many people get to do. So
Yeah.
But it was interesting. But I always get a kick out of watching those guys with those drones flying those things around, and I just didn't know if you were running them also. So,
when I first became an FM, a lot of our helicopter pilots, because they'd fly us out to the site once in a while, they were ex-Vietnam vets, combat vets. And one of them said, "You want to see how to do a combat landing?" The last time anybody ever asked him to do anything, because he turned it sideways, and if I had been strapped in, I swear I'd have gone out the door. He comes in, flies in sideways, and then flops it down.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
I looked at him and went, "Thank you."
Papa Squall, you know what auto rotation is?
Oh yeah, but I've never done it and don't want to.
I knew somebody who worked in the Air Force. He was a helicopter mechanic. And every once in a while, just to make sure the mechanics can stay on the thing, they, "Come on, you're coming with us." And they do an auto rotate. Those who don't know, auto rotation, you go as high as you can, you turn the engine off. It's just like an airplane. Now you got to, as you're going down, the wind is making those blades turn, and the pilot's got to know the exact moment that he can change the pitch and have it balanced so that now it's hovering anymore and you're not crashing. Talk about having your guts come out your mouth.
But that is, I mean, that's a maneuver that will save your life.
Absolutely.
So,
that's why they teach that to you, is because if that engine fails, you've got to know how to control the crash, basically.
Right.
But enough about helicopters.
Yeah.
Like I said, tell them, Lewis, to put fuel in it.
Hey, we talked about it. Put fuel in it.
Yeah.
So, Gil,
I know last time I asked you what kind of exotic fruit you were using for leather. Have you upgraded into anything? Are we doing mushrooms, or have we moved on to the newest thing?
Surprise, surprise! Mushroom didn't take off.
I was curious. I was in the Tesla dealership. I have one that I go to on Tuesdays, and it's amazing. And of course, like I said, I think they have some kind of organic tangerine stuff. I don't know what it is.
Tesla uses grape skin leather. So.
Yeah, so it's amazing. Like I said, and I was just curious if you found a new glitch or somebody calling you saying they need to have kangaroo stuff or what. I just didn't know what the newest trend was.
No, we're using good old.
I'm getting close on the Mustang, not really, but I want to be up to date on the wise.
Brian, just do the Mustang and ostrich.
Just using traditional leather. That's it.
Yeah, I'm using a milk carton, but crate, but that's a different story. So,
Brian, just have him do the Mustang and ostrich.
Ostrich? I don't know.
Like your boots.
That's some tough skin there, boy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ostrich,
what's really tough is buffalo. I had some buffalo skin, and I liked it a lot. It's really tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably use a lot more exotic stuff, right, for your leather works there, like the.
Every once in a while, somebody will ask for something weird, but mostly it's just regular leather.
Now you're getting the thicker stuff, right? Like you use like Tandy leather and stuff, like the heavy stuff.
Actually, I get some. Well, some I get from Tandy, but mostly I get from a tannery out of Boston. They actually tan the leather themselves. If I'm doing a real high end purse, I'll order from them because they'll give me some real quality stuff, and I can get it the thickness I want. 2 ounce to 5 ounce, depending on what I'm making.
Yeah.
So, like on your leather seats, or is it just like the inserts, and then you have I don't want to say pleather, but do you use a different form, or is it all the same?
It's all leather. Yeah.
It's all leather.
Yeah, all leather. And we do, when we do an interior, we send we'll order the hides. You try to order more than you need because you want the same dye lot, and then some of the hides go put aside for seat work. And then if you have a certain type of insert, whether it's an embossed insert or a perforated insert, that goes to someone else. And then the other hides, we'll try to do 2 or 3 hides, and we have them shaved down. We send it out to near Gloversville, New York, and they do all the skiving.
Oh, really?
And you get this thing; it's like paper thin, and it's perfect when you're gonna wrap panels, so you don't have the bulk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because back in the day when I was at the Porsche Audi BMW dealership, and when we had to do like a wood grain, they would always, well, of course it was $1 million, for the Black Forest, from the Black Forest over there, the wood, but you had to make sure you ordered enough because no 2 trees or no 2 if you messed up or didn't have one to fit right and you had to get it going or get another piece, you may not get the same wood grain or the knotting, and you could never get it to match. That was the biggest problem because you get a guy trading a car in and like the center console would be all destroyed from water stains to burn marks or cocaine lines in it that you get a new to get a new panel, you couldn't make it match. And then of course you're spending $1 million to replace everything on those back in the day. I guess the leather's the same way. You want to make sure it came from the same cow.
I mean, you want the same dye lot for that color, because they thankfully, we deal with suppliers that have all that information. So when we order, they tend to batch it together so that way it's all the same shade of the color. You don't have that issue because you don't know where you're going to wind up. You may be doing a seat and you might wind up with 2 pieces from 2 different hides. So you want to make sure it matches.
Yeah. Yeah, my luck would be that I'd come back and tear it or rip it and then bring it back, and you'd say, well, we got to redo it all because we don't have anything that matches. But
hide the cows out. The cows outside.
Well, the thing we do is when we order, like I said, you tend to order more than what you need, and then what happens? So when we're finished with that project, we roll up that leather, and it gets tagged with that project on it. So God forbid down the line, if there's a damage to the seat or the panel, we have the ability to pull that piece and do the repair with the original leather that we used on the project.
That's good. You just got to have the space and the storage, or properly storing it.
Yeah,
I had
basically we try to save like at least a half hide for each project. I mean, if the problem they created is bigger than a half hide, they got bigger problems.
No. I had a convertible top. Well, it was a interior shop that I went to, and the guy, did convertible tops and interiors and so forth. And one day he was like, I am so sick and tired of this. And I was like, what? He showed me like his back room was just from head to toe underneath, just filled with all of this material, because he's like had so much material. And I remember when he cleaned that out, how much rats and everything was in there, man. It was just a mess when he went to clean that out.
Yeah. So I went to
organize. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was his dad ran it before him, so I mean, this place had been around for like 50 years. I mean,
Yeah, you know what happens? You clean it all out, and then next week that one piece you threw out, you need. This happens.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I don't throw anything away, because I had a Audi 4000, and it was my everyday driver, but there was one that was left at the dealership, and it was parked right out in front of where my boss, my service manager's office was. And he'd come to work, and I was always there early, but he'd see the car, so he knew that I was there. And one day I'm driving by and I'm waving to him because I was late, and he comes over and goes, "That's not your car?" And I said, no, the guy denied the work. He goes, "That car's been sitting there like for a year." He goes, "I thought that was your car." And I was like, no. And he goes, "Oh, well, do you want it?" Or, because they put a lien on it, and got it. And he goes, "Do you want the car?" And I was like, "Well, if you're giving it to me, I'll take it." So tows it home, and I strip it. I took everything off because I figured if I ever hit a deer, because it was the same color and everything. So I pulled the whole front end, doors, hood, pulled every switch, everything I could pull out of it. And I put it in the shed. And years had gone by. And I got tired. Every time I had to do something, I had to move half this car out of the shed to do something. So finally I said, that's it. I'm getting rid of this stuff. And this guy calls me and goes, "Do you still have those Audi parts?" I said, "Yeah, come get it." He goes, "I just need a hood." I said, "No, come get everything." Loaded it all up. 2 days later, the wife backs into my car and wipes out the whole front end.
Oh my God. That's terrible.
So I know all about throwing stuff away and then needing it 2 days later. So
Brian,
after that, we don't throw nothing away. Now we got a junkyard. Looks like Sanford and Son, but I'm happy.
Brian, if you think those are bad dealing with those hides and stuff like that, try dealing with them before they're tanned and everything else in the raw stage.
Well, I was going to tell you, when I was in St. Louis, I went to Herman Oaks tannery, and they actually even go from taking the hair off the hides, the whole process. And we took a tour, me and my wife. It was pretty neat to see how they process the whole leather.
That's knowing what's involved with transporting we'll just call them the raw stage of the hides. I'm surprised leather doesn't cost more than it does, because when that's in that stage, it's a pariah. Nobody wants those boxes or anything around them. They park them in the back because they're usually we'll just say dripping.
Oh,
Yeah.
They smell less than a bouquet of roses.
Yeah, it's a big process to get one side of a cow. Long
Yeah, it's
process.
because I remember the first time I ever pulled in the oven, I'm like, what in the hell is that? It's heavy, it's dripping, and and they went, oh, and they told me, it's like, oh, well, that explains it. So, you know, we having dealt with those in the raw before they're finished and prepped, and like you said, shaved, and then they got to be dried, and they've stretched, and if they're dyed and tan, all that goes with them. So
you would think it'd be a lot more money than what it is because it's a long process.
I'd rather fool with the hides after they're finished.
Yeah. Papa Squirrel, man, him and Debbie hooked me up with some hides a couple years back. I just now ran out of it on some little projects, but I made leather coats, I made shoes. Man.
We had been out to North Carolina because a friend of ours was at a Ren Fair out there, and they bought a car, and they couldn't drive it home because his wife can't drive long distances. So we volunteered to drive it home. Well, before we drove it home, we went by this one, can't call it a thrift shop. It was, they had been donated a huge bunch of hides, just leather for seat hides, things like that. And they were selling it by the pound. And
beautiful stuff.
we picked up, let's put it this way, that little PT Cruiser had only space for my wife and I in it.
It was filled up to the top.
She packs it. I mean, she can put toothpaste in a tube. And so we gave Lewis a bunch of it because we didn't need it.
Gil, they sent me the priority boxes.
Yep.
And the hides were, you know how big a big cow. It was a big cow, and Debbie had packed them up in these little tiny boxes, man.
Holding it all up.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I just
probably
ran
weighed
out.
a lot too. That's it was heavy.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I have anything to show you. I don't think I have my coat here. My motorcycle coat. I made a motorcycle jacket out of it. I made all kind of stuff, man. That stuff was beautiful leather. Yep.
Oh yeah, there's all different qualities too. That's the other thing people gotta think about too, and just when you order the leather based on the supplier, it's different quality levels as far as leather, especially in the automotive world. You gotta, there is cheap leather out there, but it's not good. It's not good leather.
Yeah.
It's tried out. It's got a lot of scars in it. And that's the beauty of when we order stuff. I mean, it costs a little more, but there's very little scarring in it.
Yeah.
Never get Mexican leather.
Can't have those cows walking into into those fences.
Oh yeah, I've had sides that had the barbed wire, bug bites, branding. But some people like the branding. Like I've made some bags with the brand on the bag. Some people like that.
If you're doing some kind of like patina thing with a distressed leather, the brand marks are nice,
Yep. It's pretty neat. It's a beautiful medium to work with. Really is.
Ray, this is the guy you need to ask about your carpet. Getting that thing to, instead of using all those staples holding it down, getting that carpet formed.
Yeah, I was complaining about putting a molded carpet in a car. They never seem to fit quite right.
Yeah.
I was fighting with it again yesterday, but I'm just gonna. It's gonna be what it is. What it is. Once I put the console and the seats in, you're gonna see so little of it, really. If there's a little bit of a
steamer, Ray?
What's that?
A steamer.
I do have a steamer. The thing is too with this carpet, there's really a thick padding under it. I forget I bought it through Ames, the Pontiac dealer. And I don't remember what interior company it was, but I tell you, they really put a thick padding on this thing.
Yeah, so I think there's only one company left, which is ACC,
Okay.
It probably has what they called mass backing on it. So it's that heavy backing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. So when I'm driving my holes through for my seatbelt bolts and all, I'm using a hole punch to drive through. And man, you got to go through and turn and man, whack the shit out of that thing.
You want a trick to that?
Yeah.
Take the hole punch, right? Hit it with a torch.
Heat it up.
Heat it up. Burn right through it. It'll give you a nice clean hole, and as it burns, it burns the thread there, so you don't have to worry about it. Right?
Gotcha. Yeah, I know. Back in the day, everybody was using hot soldering irons to do that. But it doesn't make a clean hole. It just
you do the hole punch. You hit it with the torch, and then you just put a nice clean hole in it. So.
Yeah. Nice, good tip. Thank you. Yeah, good to know.
So you learn something new every day.
Yep.
I figure just
make sure the hole is there, though.
Right.
I figure you just I just figure you just hose down the carpet and put it in wet and let it dry, and it'll form a seat. I mean, it'll form it that way. Then
Yeah, it'll form along with the mold.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's why they got Lysol afterwards, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Tricks of the trade.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Tricks of the trade is have somebody else do it for you.
Yeah. Well, I firmly believe in paying a professional to do what they do best. That's why I had a guy re-grout and caulk the bathtub yesterday, because that's his job. That's what he does for a living, and he did a phenomenal job. And I don't mind paying a guy for that. It's you get what you pay for.
You knocked it right out, didn't you?
You got to put value on your time, right? That's the way I always look at it. If somebody else can do the job, and I don't have to do it, what can I do with the time that I'm saving by not doing that? And it should outweigh the cost of having somebody else do it.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it.
Sometimes you're saving your marriage.
Well, that's true. And this guy also, these guys actually clean and they paint grout in the floors. And he says, as long as the grout is put in right where it's beveled, he goes, we come in there, we clean it. And he says, if it's steam cleaned, we paint it by hand. And he says, we'll do it twice because the warm grout will actually absorb some of the paint. And he goes, well, once we do that, you're good for a lot longer than the grout alone, even with a sealed grout. And it looks great. And he says, now, you know what? I know you're a guy that likes to do stuff yourself and you're very handy. He says, I can tell you where to get the product, what to get. He goes, if you don't mind working on your hands and knees. I was like, you know what? I'll be calling you in about a month and a half, 2 months. I said, I'll be calling you back in and having you do the job. So he's like, oh, thanks. But yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't be on my hands and knees. Grout. God.
Well, guys, it's been real. Gil, nice to see you. I'm gonna stick with my my Ford top, my Ford power top, where you just unlatch it and flip the button and it goes up and down.
That's nice.
No issues with the rest of that stuff. I got to run in the morning, so.
All right, be safe out there.
All right, Lewis.
Take
care, Vince.
All right, Ray, Coach,
Girl,
Brian. I'm gonna call you tomorrow, Brian. I got to talk to you.
Me?
Yes, you.
Uh-oh.
Jim.
Okay.
See ya.
Sounds like trouble.
All right, take it easy.
All right, guys. Good night.
Yeah.
What's up, Coach?
Not much. Been a tough week. We had our final game for the middle school for our football on Tuesday, and it went down. We were ahead at halftime, 12-6. They came back. It was 12-12, and we were holding them. We just needed the ball back. We could get ahead. I had everything, my game plan, everything. I had the high school coaches were there scouting out our kids. And all of a sudden, my kids just started doing some stuff we didn't teach. At one point, I ran a play, and my fullback was supposed to go through the line and nail the linebacker. And he's a big guy. He's actually lineman size. And I'm looking at him going, if the coaches see you hit this guy, they may put you as a fullback or an H-back. But if they don't see you do something, you're going to be a lineman. And he, instead of going through the hole, he starts running and he stops and goes into a lineman blocking pose. The linebacker comes through, hits my running back, and I came uncorked screaming at him. He gets to the sideline, and I said, "Look, I'm trying to get the coaches are right there. I'm trying to get you a look. Like, I'm not like I don't. It's not even the play blew up. It's like this. We practiced it all week. This was your chance. Like, but yeah, the other team and there was a trophy involved, and sad to say they own me for the last 5 years on that game. But yeah, with I think 18 seconds left, they scored the go-ahead goal.
Oh,
And I said, hey, they're going to do an onside kick because they want that ball back so they can knee it. I said, get that onside kick. And I said, I got 2 plays we can run that we should get in there. And it went to the same kid, hit his chest pads and hit the ground and bounced right back into their hands. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. But it gets better. It gets better.
wow.
So there were so many emotions involved because this was my last game coaching the middle school. And I've been helping out at the high school. And tonight, Thursdays are usually when the JV game happens at the high school, but it ended up being Wednesday. So I go to help out at the game. And so we lost 12-18. I'm helping out at the game. We're ahead 12-8. And we come out in the second half. We're just, we some mistakes happen, but we're still on top. We're still on top. And with a minute left, they hit the sideline and they get all the way down to the 3-yard line or so. And with about a minute or under a minute left, they score. So now it's, I think 14 or 16. Yeah, 16, something like that after they score. And we're like, we get the ball back. They're going to onside it. We get the ball back and we can make up for it. And they kick it. Now this one, it went over the head of the line, the front line. One of the kids comes running up, and as he's diving on the ball skips off the ground, hits his chest pad, bounces back out, and they land on it. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, yesterday was bad enough, and now I'm seeing a repeat.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on? So it's been a bit of an emotional week, but yeah. So I'll be transitioning. I'm still going to be working at the middle school, and I'll be coaching other sports at the middle school, but I'm going to be transitioning to the high school for football.
Oh, nice.
So it's great. I mean, it's bittersweet because I'm gonna miss doing it at the middle school to a degree, but I've been doing it at the middle school since 2016. So it's time for me to move up. But the high school, that's the high school I went to. And so and it's the dream coaching job. I wanted to be at the high school there. And actually my mom was a graduate of the high school in 1959.
Wow.
So there's a long history there and a lot of meaning to it. So like I said, it's bittersweet, but that's been my week so far.
So hey, Isaac, send me your address and everything because I'm setting my map up because next month we'll be heading out west. So I want to try to get my friends all lined up to hit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I like I was saying the other day, I told my wife that when you come through, depending on your time and stuff, you may want to see the Air Museum or see Old Tucson, and then also Tombstone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Whether it's on the way through or on the way back or whatever, but
yeah.
But yeah,
I'm hitting all the cowboy stuff, man. I love the cowboy era. So I'm gonna get my cowboy hat together. Where's my hat? Check out the hat I made. Hold on. Oh, it's in the Jeep.
Coach is right. You want to hit
Jeep.
that Air Museum up because there are some fascinating planes there.
Yeah.
Really fast. Oh man, yes.
Yeah, we love all that history stuff, man.
When we went there, he was pointing out one of the helicopters that they would work on in Afghanistan. And he was a Marine infantry. He wasn't a helicopter guy, but Marines are weird. They'll grab anybody to work on something if they need them.
Yeah.
And
All right, guys, time for me to build too.
Later,
All right,
Jim.
Jim. Have a
Take
good
care,
one.
Jim.
Guys, see y'all
Take it
next
easy.
week.
All right, take it easy. Actually, I'm gonna
Speaking
jump
of-
off.
Speaking on airplane stuff, do you build bomber seats? Do you buy them, or do you fabricate them, or have you gotten into that, or do you have any need, or anybody ask? Gil.
For us, no, we haven't had the need for that yet. So it's not. We don't typically get into that hot rod, rat rod genre stuff. It's more muscle car,
More high class.
Yeah.
Listen, some of those bomber seats are they're costly. You do all that aluminum work, the bead rolling, and then the hand
And then
tube.
you got to sit in it.
It's not for the faint of heart either. So
You got to
Yeah.
sit in and get your ass pounded.
I had I still have it, but I had on my international scout, it had those, it had bucket seats, or they were like Jeep seats in the truck, and because it's just a farm truck type thing. And I wish I saved them, because you can't find them anywhere, because everybody threw them away and put regular, the door used to pop open. The passenger side door used to pop open on the truck. So at my time, she was my girlfriend, now my wife. She measured it out and realized a Ford Ranger bench seat fit. And so she got me that. That way she could sit towards the middle of the truck. So when the door popped open, she didn't fall out.
That's called self-preservation.
So, but I pulled those seats out, and of course now because they were kind of like, they weren't bomber seats, but they had that all metal, it was like a school chair, only had 1.5 inch pad on the bottom, type thing. But I was just curious if, you fabricated or made bomber seats, or if you even did anything that way about them, or had.
not yet.
I'm kind of happy to see that craze is a little bit past. I mean, it was kind of cool. I mean, there was some really good and creative cars done that way. But then, like everything else, when everybody else thinks they can do what they saw done on TV, you see some real crap. And it's like, dude, you took a good vehicle, now you ruined it,
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I tend to be a little cynical like that. So.
Yeah, everybody has their flavor.
Yeah.
Hey, I feel you on that, Ray. My wife told me, she said, when I start working on the Chevelle, she goes, we need to get you a paint sprayer. I want you to paint it. And I'm like, I'm not a paint and body guy. I am not.
Me too either. And that's why I trusted it to a good friend. And I got a great job. The paint's nice and flat. It looks beautiful. And because it was done by a professional. Again, pay the guy who does it for a living, and you get a good job.
Yeah. If I was gonna paint something myself, it might be like a dune buggy or something that's gonna go out in the desert and get all scratched up, and I don't care about.
I think that's another thing that TV did. It made everybody. It was a double-edged sword. It made a lot of guys think they could do what they see on TV. Now, don't get me wrong. If that gets someone outside and he buys some tools and maybe buys a welder or whatever and starts playing around and seeing what he could do, you might you'll uncover a guy with a talent that you didn't know. And but it also did the opposite, where you saw a lot of hacks out there making cars. I've seen more unsafe cars because guys thought they were doing the right thing. Like back in the early motorcycle days, the term chopper came about because you would take a full dress like a police bike, chop all the crap off it to make it a light, street racer, and now you had yourself something you could ride and get away from the cops on. And guys do that with the cars, and there's always a limit. You can go too far, and now you took off some stuff you shouldn't have took off.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
one thing about working on something is you learn quickly what you can and can't do.
Yep.
And people who tend to make a lot of their own stuff are willing to pay a professional to do the work.
Yeah, Pop Squirrel, I agree with you. And then again, in my own experiences, I know what I can do. I know what my strong points and weak points are. And a lot of times if I get stuck with something that I'm not really, I know other guys can do better, I tend to push myself and say, you know what, you can do this. Why can't you do this? And I'll give it another shot. And maybe you do hit a wall. Maybe there is just some reason you can't do it. Maybe it's physical, or maybe like I was doing a job on my wife's car in the driveway the other day, and my neighbor's talking to me over the fence. And here I am installing a catalytic converter, and she's asking me if I know a good exhaust shop. And I said, it's kind of ironic you asked me that, because yesterday I called my buddy at the shop for some help. They says, how can I help you? I said, come over here with the flatbed and take this fucking car to an exhaust shop. It ends up the cat I had was never going to fit because it was a Chinesium catalytic converter, and the flange was too thick. So as she's talking to me, I got to keep working because now I'm watching, 7 o'clock, the sun is down, and I'm working. I'm trying to get a nut that was in between the cat and a radiator hose, and it was one of the mounting nuts, and you could see it with the light, but then as soon as you put your hand in there, now you can't see it anymore. So as I got my hand down behind me and I'm looking at her, I said, okay, this is what mechanics call, using the eyes in their fingers. I said, right now I'm trying to seat this nut and I can't see it. I said, but my fingers are now my guide. I have to go by that. I said, if you've ever heard somebody say that, this is what it means. And she's like, oh yeah, I think I have heard that, but wow, that sounds kind of hard. I said, yeah, it is. I said, but it's also very rewarding when you get it. I said, I've already tried 20 times, and either it falls or, it doesn't go, whatever happens. I said, or, your neighbor talks to you and you can't concentrate, So, yeah. So I don't know. The TV stuff, it's good. Like I said, if it can make somebody go out and do something or try something, I'm all for it. I think it's good. But, we all have friends. Call a friend who knows something more than you. And, I'm a big proponent of that. I work with younger guys in the shop over the years, and I'd see sometimes they could do something easier than I could. And I'd say, hey, give me a leg up. Show me how you're doing that. I want to know if it's a physical limitation that I have, or maybe I'm just not approaching it the right way. And they're like, wow, nobody your age has ever asked, for help. Or to have us show them something, because you guys know it all. I'm like, no, we don't. I said, we sure as hell don't. I know I don't. I said, and if I could learn something from you, I said, I'll teach you a bunch of shit. I said, and if I could learn something from you, yeah, that's all just money in the bank.
Yep.
Yeah, I do have one question. I'm sorry, Ray, before I forget. When you're doing, I know with like seats, you got hog rings and so forth, putting seats together, putting the thing. But do you ever get into either staples or tacks? I mean, where would you, is that something that you use like I don't want to say a staple gun, but do you actually, or is it just mostly gluing? I mean, when you're doing like a door panel or trim or any type of like that, are you using that type of tool, or is it basically hog rings and glue? I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, when you talk about the door panels are typically glue, sometimes staples, depending if you have the thickness. And it could be magnets. We use a lot of magnets too to put pieces together now. So.
Oh, really?
Magnets? Yeah. Wow, cool.
Yeah. So if you have a door panel that's, has a complex design and has multiple pieces, those are typically held together with either push clips or magnets. So it comes apart, easy, when you need to get into it. So, but on panels, it's typically going to be staples or glue. There's no hog rings or anything like that on a panel. So.
Yeah, no, I know on the seat part or whatever, you have the hog rings and do you venture into the LED lighting of trim work on a dash or hiding lights? I mean, like I said, my daughter is like, she shows me all this crap about all, lighting up the whole car. And so I don't know why. I mean, when you're driving at night, I don't want, all the light, I just didn't know if you get into all that or have a calling for that.
Under the dash, you get in the console, you'll get some lighting. You can add some to the door panels, but it's really not something we do a lot of on the cars we do.
Yeah. You know, that Firebird I was talking about, the guy had under dash lighting. It was all LED, and he had it around. It was cut kind of into the door panels. They were custom made door panels. And since the car was blue and white, he ran it on like a blue tone, but it would change, and he could change the intensity. He had full control over it. I was like, man, that's a lot of stuff to play with. How about just, you know, and it was an LS 5-speed build. I mean, the car was like a phenomenal driving car. I was like, who cares, man? You don't even need a fucking radio in this car. Just, just go get one of those nice, get one of those nice cigars out of the humidor, drop the top, and let's go.
Yeah, just enjoy it.
Yeah, but that's me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody has their own flavor.
Yeah, very true.
Well, I was going to say, tag on to what Ray was saying too, with the TV shows and the people wanting to try stuff, that I agree with them. Sometimes somebody might find a talent they didn't know they had, and or a love of doing something. Some people go too far. You got to know your limits. You got to know if you're going to push through. When it comes to like paint and body, where I could definitively tell my wife, no way. I had a 91 Firebird that I had some, I think it was some hood damage, and I need to work on. And I tried my hand at doing it, and I just do not have the patience. I got it to fairly straight, little bit of crinkle in it, and I was like, you know what? Not me. I'm gonna go. In fact, I went and bought a new hood.
Yeah, it's a definite feel. You know, the other thing, Isaac, to your point, is when guys, and I have some friends like this, who they do try some new things, and they think they're really good at it. And they're not.
Yeah.
They're not. It's like, and you try to tell them gently, you know, they're like, oh man, I got this. This is easy. They make this look so freaking hard. Like, yeah, because it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, hey, guys, I got to jump ship.
Yeah, I'm going to get out of here too. But,
all right, Gil, so I'm going to try to get down to your place for probably Tuesday or Wednesday and see what Terry's doing. You know, I'm going to bring him up there because, you know, you gotta put a rope around him to get him to go nowhere.
Oh, yeah, you got to visit. He's got to come up.
Oh, real quick, speaking of Terry, Lewis, tell him I put it in the group chat. My son bought that truck.
Oh,
You saw the picture, yeah.
Yeah, I'll let him know.
Yeah, it took him a month or 2 months, I think, but he finally jumped on it.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks like a nice truck.
Yeah, it is. He brought it by yesterday, and before I had to be back at the school, I came and met him, and he let me take it around the block and check it out. It was nice. I didn't want to give it back.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. All right, Gil. Thanks for coming on, Gil. Appreciate you.
I'll get in touch with you, Gil, because my buddy Chris, we're gonna want to come up and see us. Oh, you're doing an open house or something? Is that what's?
Yeah, October 18th. Yep, Saturday.
Yeah, I think we'll probably come up for that. We'll probably come up and see you for that. And,
awesome.
Look forward to it.
All right, guys.
All right, fellas.
Awesome talking, Gil.
Take care.
All right, Lewis. Before you go, sign us out.
All righty. All right, people in the chat on the Facebook Live and the YouTube Live, we'd like to thank you all for checking us out. And please tell all your friends that we do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. We talk about cars and anything else that has gas or diesel in it. We talk about it. All right, guys. Appreciate you. And everybody have a good night.
So long, Lewis.
Take care.
Awesome.